we have something that I want to talk about. And yes, we got a new special teams coordinator. What is up, Finn fans? Now, I don't know what I've titled this video yet because I am going to talk about Craig Aukerman. I think that's how you say his name. The new special teams coordinator that the Miami Dolphins hired yesterday. But there are some other things that I want to talk about, especially with the team, with the future of the team, and how that might be impacting things going forward. Now, I still have a video planned about 2025, and if it fails, and it kind of coincides with that. But first, there's some other things. Well, first off, today is the 29th, and we have trivia today. So before I get into other news, what defensive end and Pro Bowl linebacker from Louisiana Tech wore number 77 for the Dolphins from 1977 to 1984? So Dolphins Pro Bowl defensive end and linebacker from Louisiana Tech wore uniform number 77 from 77 to 84. See how many you know this. Comment below. I'll tell you the answer at the end. So, little updates on some other things, right? Boom. Cliff Kingsbury will not pursue Saint's job, opting to remain with the Commanders as offensive coordinator. That's one thing. Then you also have this little note of information from yesterday. The Raiders interviewed Dolphins quarterback coach / pass game coordinator Darrell Bevell today. That was yesterday for their offensive coordinator job per sources. Bevell and Pete Carroll won a Super Bowl together in Seattle. Now a possible reunion in Las Vegas. I bring those two things up because they're going to kind of coincide with my main point and whatever I came up with. The title of this video is there's a little bit of a problem stewing in Miami because with the Saints job, it might come down to Kellen Moore, because I know that they went to Philly and interviewed him in person. And he's, to me, seems like the favorite to get that Saints job. Or I think it's Anthony Weaver. I think it's down to those two. And like I showed you guys in yesterday's video, they liked Anthony Weaver, and you know, it's hard not to. He's a very good, charismatic coach. But here's the thing though, with the Saints job, you think the Dolphins are in cap hell, they're in worse cap hell. And that's why a lot of these candidates like Kingsbury and Brady and all these other guys took themselves out of the running because they're like, I ain't dealing with that. So I think it's going to come down to, if Kellen Moore doesn't want it, it might go to Anthony Weaver, and we might lose our defensive coordinator. And then you have Darrell Bevell, and I think he's going to the Raiders. I think he's going to be their offensive coordinator again. I think him and Pete Carroll still have a connection, even though he fired him, because it's an upgrade. It's an upgrade from being a quarterback coach. And again, I think that the Dolphins should move him to offensive coordinator and save that potential loss, but they probably won't, because Mike McDaniel wants to hold on to the play calling duties. And then I will talk about what happened also yesterday, in that the Miami Dolphins have hired Craig Aukerman as special teams coordinator. And you might ask yourself, who the flip is Craig Aukerman? Well, this is what Alan Poupart said. The Miami Dolphins reportedly have their new special team coordinator, and it's someone who was out of the NFL last year. I'm going to get into all this. Trust me. The team will be hiring former Tennessee Titans special team coordinator Craig Aukerman, according to NFL Network's Tom Pelissero, to fill the vacancy it created when Danny Crossman was fired after 6 seasons on the job. Aukerman was Titans special team coordinator for 5+ seasons before he was fired in December of 2023 after a disastrous day for the kicking game led to a loss to the Indianapolis Colts. In that game, the Titans had 2 punts blocked, including one that caused a season-ending knee injury to the punter, and later a missed extra point attempt with a replacement holder and a 31-28 overtime loss. In Aukerman's 6 seasons in Tennessee, the Tennessee Titans special teams were middle of the pack, and I will get into that. The team finished season ranked, blah, blah, blah. Aukerman interviewed for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers special teams coordinator position in January of 2024, but the job eventually went to Thomas McGaury. Aukerman previously was special team coordinator for San Diego in 2016. His NFL coaching career began in 2010. The 48-year-old played wide receiver and defensive back in Ohio from 95 to 98. So in 2018, his special teams were 16th. 2019, they were 18th. 2020, they were 24th. 2021, they were 19th. Yeah, I'll even show you where I'm getting this information from. 2022, they were 14th. And his last year in the NFL, they were 21st. And he got fired in December. And I took a day. I was like, let me not jump on the bandwagon, because I was not happy on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll know I was just like, my thought process was he's better than Crossman. This was not a good hire. This was not and again, you could say he's better than Crossman, and that is the case, because Crossman for the past 3 years was like, this year was 32nd ranked, and then it was 30th ranked, and it was like 29th ranked, and yeah, sure, he's better than Crossman, but that's like saying that poop over there doesn't stink as bad as that pile of poop over there. It's still both poop. It's not good. And I've had people say, give it a chance. Let's see what he can do. You never know. Butch Berry, blah, 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 blah. We got to stop bringing up Butch Berry, right? 2 years with the Dolphins. I talked about Butch when we signed him. I talked about what happened in Denver and how I don't think it was his fault, and Russell Wilson with bad pocket presence. And yeah, you can go back and watch that video. The offensive line was bad last year. So, I'm not here to poop on Butch Berry, but we need to stop bringing up the Butch Berry. A lot of people knocked on him, and then because you should want better. And I'm at that point. And this is where maybe the title of the video is. I don't know what the title of the video is, but there's a problem, because there were better offense coordinators out there, special team coordinators, sorry. And I named them in a previous video. And Fossil signed with the Titans like a couple days ago, 5-6 days ago. There were other special team coordinators out there. I will pull up their names that had a better resume, and Dolphins didn't even attempt, per Armando Salguero, they didn't even attempt to call Darren Rizzi. Now, that makes sense. Chris Tabor was another name that I threw out there, as well as John Fossil. That makes sense, because we probably burned that bridge when we didn't, give him a chance to be the head coach. But it seems like, now, don't get me wrong, I love the Prince signing. I talked about the Prince signing, the wide receiving coach. I'm happy with that one. But it seems like the Dolphins might be having a hard time, A, keeping coaches, and B, bringing in coaches, because of the fact that there's no stability with this team. And I'm going to go into more detail with that in that video I have planned. But there's no stability with this team. You don't know if this team and this coach and this GM are going to be here next year. And if the coach is fired next year, you're fired next year. And there is a very, that's probably why we had to go out and get Craig Aukerman, who hasn't coached in the NFL in a year, to be our special team coordinator. And that is why he is not anything like the Butch Berry signing, because he has not coached for a year. No team wanted him for a year. This is a bad signing. And if the Dolphins are tired of the status quo, and I'll keep bringing it up because I can't believe Stephen Ross said this in his quote, that the play on the field's not good enough, and I don't want you to think the status quo is good enough. No changes were made. No changes were made. So the play on the field wasn't good enough, but you didn't make any changes, and the status quo wasn't good enough, but you didn't make any changes. That is going to hurt this team. We're in cap hell. And again, I'll go more into detail on all this stuff in that video. And there's no stability with this team. So it's going to be very hard to bring in assistant coaches, and possible, and I don't want to be doom and gloom guy, but I also want to prepare you guys, free agents. Because what free agent is going to want to come here if you don't know if your head coach is going to be here at mid-season? You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying my best to not be so pessimistic, and so the sky's falling, and I know people are going to be give him a chance, give him a chance. It's the same thing I heard with the offensive line in March. Doug, it's just March. And then April. Doug, it's just April. It's just OTAs, give it a chance, and look at how the offensive line ended up. This move does not move the needle for me. And it needs to. If Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel are trying to save their jobs, this move needed to move the needle. The free agents you sign have to move that needle. The draft picks you make have to move that needle. Any trades you make have to move that needle. And what needle I'm talking about is 9-8, 11-6, 8-9. You got to move that needle, man, if you want to keep your job. And I'm going to go into more detail. I don't know how many times I'm going to say this, but how do you move that needle? How do you add those pieces if everyone knows this is it? You fail, you're gone. And then everything starts all over again. So the Aukerman signing, again, middle of the pack, right? For 2 years, he had 20 or below. And for the other 5 of his 6, he was middle of the pack, 16, 18, 19, 14. Not great, not bad. It'll be better than what we've had, don't get me wrong, but we should want more than that. And that's my point. And that's why this offseason, I'm not going to be overly critical, but I'm going to expect more. Because for 6 years, we were given flashes in the pan that have equated to nothing. Hey, we had winning season, equated to nothing. Hey, we made the playoffs, it equated to nothing. It's the same thing like I talk with Justin Herbert. He's got flashy numbers. He's got crazy records. It equates to nothing. And I want to start equating to something. I want to start winning playoff games. I want to be in the AFC Championship game. I want to get to the conference round. I want to get to the divisional round. I just want to move the needle. And this move doesn't move the needle. The Prince move, to me, moved the needle a little bit. I like that move. I think he's going to help these receivers. I like what he's done for other receivers. This move, it doesn't. And you're like, dog, it's special teams. Give me a break. Special teams are important. Special teams are very important. It's one of the 3 facets of the game. You get a kick return. We beat the Jets because of special teams, because of Malik Washington returning that ball to our own 45 instead of us starting on our own 30 or 20. There's a huge difference to only having to go, like 20 yards to get into field goal range? Huge difference. So special teams is big. Also stopping punt returns and kick returns for touchdowns. They're all big. So comment below. Let me know what you think. I will release that video probably Friday talking about what happens if 2025 fails. And I'm going to talk about a cap video. I got a lot going on. No picks this week because there's no Super Bowl. I'm going to make my Super Bowl prediction next week, as well as kind of recap briefly the championship games. But am I being overly pessimistic? Comment below. Let me know. Tell me. Be honest with me. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I love constructive criticism. So comment below. Let me know. What's your thoughts? Do you think this is a sinking ship and at this point no one wants to get on it, so that's why we're having a hard time? Comment below. Let me know. And I will see you guys tomorrow. But to the answer to the question, trivia question, what defensive end and Pro Bowl linebacker from Louisiana State, I have to slow my brain down, wore uniform number 77 for the Dolphins from 1977 to 1984, and that was A.J. Dewey. Should know that. Well, if you're too young, you probably don't know that, but that's fine. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the next one. But like usual, stay classy and Vin's out.